Hey y'all, Cypher and welcome back to another Outerplane video. Hope your day's going great. Mine actually went pretty fantastic. It's actually night here. I'm literally recording at midnight, but you know, it is what it is, right? Apart from that, this video is going to be an in-depth guide. You can't say guide, but just a showcase of must-build 2-star heroes, right? So there's not going to be any bullshit. It's going to be heroes which are essential to your account. You should be building or like looking forward to build if you're a new player coming to the game, right? Or simply if you're a player who have not touched these heroes, which I doubt you have not, because these heroes are going to be some of the best in the game, right? They're arguably even better than some of the 3 stars, right? Let's just start the list. Let's go to our handy codex, right? I'm going to filter down to 2 stars. So many 2-star heroes, but honestly, so many good ones. I mean, sorry, so little good ones. My bad. Little wordplay over here. But yeah, coming to the first one, it's going to be our friendly neighborhood Tio, right? Tio is one of the first heroes we get as a free-to-play player because she is free. She's a login reward. I believe we get her on our 2nd day of the game. And she is like downright the best healer in the game, like downright, because there's literally no competition in terms of healing. Probably Siren does a better job at healing, but she does way more things, right? Which Siren does not. Coming to her first skill again, it's a basic attack, single target, barrier grants to the ally with the lowest health for 1 turn. Barrier strength increases proportional to her max health, which is really good because you want to build her as much tanky as possible with lots of health and lots of speed, right? Her skill basic first aid prepares the agile response effect for every cooldown cycle of the skill, removes 2 debuffs from all allies and recovers health by 30%. So essentially, every 2 turns, she's gonna cleanse 2 debuffs from all your allies, and she is also gonna recover the health by 30% of her own health, which is insane. Also, she is one of the best heroes to unlock her exclusive equipment. Once you have exclusive equipment, she is also gonna push all allies priority by 25% or 25, just flat out 25, right? I don't believe there's a percentage gauge in this game. So imagine how loaded the skill is. 2 turn cooldown, removes 2 debuffs from all allies, recovers health by 30% of her own max HP, and she's also gonna push everybody's priority gauge or action gauge, right, by 25, essentially 1/4 of a turn. She's just amazing. She is used everywhere. She's used in PvE content, she is used in PvP content. She was like the GOAT of the entire game up until just recently before Notia was released, because you know Notia kind of countered her, but that's something we don't want to get into detail. She still remains as one of the best healers in the game, or like just flat out the best. It's debatable. Again, as I said, some people prefer Siren, but I know most of them just prefer Tio, because Tio is going to help you in tower against Sigma. She's going to help you in adventures mode. She's going to help you in stuff like Chimera. She is just overall a great unit. She is one of the best you can get. Her 3rd skill, again, look at that cooldown, 3 turn cooldown. After you get this burst skill, it's going to reduce by 2 turns, so it's going to be essentially only 1 turn cooldown. You can effectively cycle the skill every single turn. It's a single target, 70% heal, plus granting a defense buff for 2 turns. And this burst effect, by the way, keep in mind this burst is pretty short. It's only at 60 burst points. So essentially, she is going to be having this kill every single turn. Literally, like people have been soloed by Tio in Arena. If their DPS dies, there's no way you can kill a Tio alone. Literally no way. Demi Stella, she cannot kill her. Any other bruiser, Veronica, cannot kill her. Like, she is just insane, right? She's insane. Of course, apart from that, her skill chain effects is pretty mediocre. You know, you get some extra heals, as with probably every other healer in the game, so we're not going to go into that. But yeah, her utility in the game as both PvE and PvP goddesses, it's unmatched. It's literally unmatched. She's not even fallen, but she has fallen a bit due to Notia, right? Because Notia counts as healers with the silence debuff. She gets the priority on her own passive first before Tio, so Tio cannot cleanse the debuffs. But she's still pretty good. She's still pretty good and dandy. I've seen some people still using Tio with very high resistance, right? Resistance is resilience in this game, by the way, if you're coming from other games, right? Turn-based games. So yeah, she is a must build. Like you need a Tio. Honestly, I don't know how you'll survive the game without a Tio. I know some people did. Me personally, I did. I didn't build Tio for a long time, which is my fault. But yeah, that comes to our next hero, which is gonna be this chick. Yeah, ignore the design. I know those lovely pillows, right? Yeah, she is Dolly. Now Dolly is probably debatably one of the best debuffers in the game, period. Like, she is much better than every other one you can imagine. Probably if you could compare her, it could be with Eternal, the 3-star hero, right? But again, Eternal is only good against Earth units. Dolly is more of an all-rounder, right? Her debuffs, just look at that. Her second skill, AoE, speed down, accuracy down for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. So effectively, you're having all the opponents having a speed and accuracy down for 3 turns the entire duration of the game, because by the time they're gonna be able to expire these debuffs, she'll be able to land them again, right? Yeah, she's just a goddess for PvE. She's not used much in PvP. I don't think she's ever used in PvP, just because of her base speed. Like, it's so horrendous. Look at that, 124. Nothing crazy, but she's just a goddess. She's just goddess for PvE content, right? Look at that. A single target, 50% chance to reduce attack down, and her third skill, AoE, 100% chance to inflict silence for 2 turns. And again, her burst effect removes 1 additional buff from the target. This is pretty clutch, honestly. This is pretty clutch on tower stages against floor 96, against K, his shields. This is also clutch against some of the heals, right? Also clutch against immunity that Feynman provides. So you should not underestimate her utility, but honestly, her main point to build her is always going to be her second skill. You should always try to max out her second skill. Her exclusive equipment is just not effective. It's not that good at all, right? But I think which is a good thing, right? Because exclusive equipment is honestly pretty hard to get, especially if you're a new player, so you don't really need to invest into her exclusive equipment. You can just put all your gifts into Tio to get her exclusive equipment. Honestly, both her and Tio, they're enough to carry a mediocre team all the way in the PvE content. I can honestly say that for sure, right? Coming to the next hero, right? Again, this is a pretty short list, because 2-star heroes, you might think there are so many of them, but there are so little good ones, right? I'm just gonna be talking about those 2-star heroes which are kind of a must build, right? They're like top of the categories. They can even rival some of the 3-star ones in the game. They're just all-rounders, right? All-rounders. Cindy, I mean, this was a very underrated chick. She was not taken into account. Her power is not taken into account until people realized how strong of a stat evasion was, right? So again, let me just keep this clear. Cindy is not exactly a great PvE unit. Of course, you could use her because she provides a great number of debuffs, buffs, but her main use is going to be in PvP. Now, even if you're a new player, this could be debatable, but I would still advise you to take Cindy at least up to level 60. Because me personally, I did not do it, and I suffered a lot. I suffered a lot in my early game teams, and people have been pretty crazy now. Pretty crazy. Evasion is literally everywhere, especially with Demi-Stellas, Veronica's, Leo's. Literally, Leo provides an evasion buff. And we'll see why she's important, right? Look at that. Her second skill, 3-turn cooldown, provides attack and accuracy buff for 2 turns. 2 turns, keep that in mind. And this is a must, guys. This is a must. If your DPS is simply gonna be non-effective if they miss, right? So you need your Cindy to buff them with attack buff as well as the accuracy buff, right? The priority, of course, being the accuracy one. You'll see the difference. I saw the difference. I did not believe in her power at first. I thought, maybe just go with Valentine, the crit damage buff, it's enough. But when your DPS misses, you're gonna cry, you're gonna shit to bed, you're gonna be literally cursing the game's mechanics, because I did for a long time. I did that for a long time. Yeah, this single move is gonna be enough to fuck with people. Honestly, that's all I can say. You will literally play the 50-50 game with them. Apart from that, her single target, this is pretty decent. Honestly, this deal is decent damage. If you have a pretty fast Cindy, Her base speed is already 149, right? And I know people who have at least 310 plus indies easily because her base speed is just that good. It's not something like Sigma, of course, because Sigma is like the highest in the game, but it's still pretty respectable, right? 149 is not bad at all. You should at least aim to get at least around, if you're early game player, again, 270 plus, probably. If you're mid game player, aim for like 280, 290. Late game players should at least aim for 300 plus speed, right? If you're at least trying to compete for Diamond 1, I think that should be the bare minimum, right? Her third skill. See, her third skill is increases the duration of all buffs for all allies for 1 turn, right? One thing that people have, one thing which has actually been ignored by people and which was abused by high-ranking players for a long time was the Leo and Cindy combo, right? So basically, Leo provides invincibility, right? And Cindy could simply extend that invincibility for another turn. So you're getting 2 turns of invincibility with Leo and Cindy, right? Compare that to your opponents just simply mindlessly hitting. Of course, you're gonna pair them with the Demi Stella, and you're just gonna rely on RNG. Once in a while, Demi Stella will counter, and opponents will simply die from being countered to their death, right? Because they cannot hurt you. You have 2 turns worth of invincibility. There's literally not a single good debuff remover, the buff remover in the game. There's no good stripper in the entire game at the moment. Which is another debatable topic, which I'll get into later, right? This is not supposed to be that kind of video. But again, Cindy is just a versatile unit. She is mostly used for PvP. Her PvE usage is pretty limited again, but she can be a great buffer for DPS because of that increased attack buff. Your Valentine does not provide these buffs. And honestly, me personally, I use her with Valentine herself just because then I get both all 3 buffs, right? Critical hit chance, critical hit damage, attack, as well as accuracy. Honestly, that's everything a DPS needs in the game, right? Yeah, so that's gonna be my third recommendation. Coming to the fourth one, it's gonna be Marianne. Now Marianne, again, a sleeper hit. She was looked down upon for a long time until some people finally figured out that, well, she is busted against guild boss, right? She is purely going to be a guild boss unit. She is not going to be something that you're going to be using in PvP or PvE. Probably going to use in PvE, honestly, because of the burns, or sorry, not the burns, the curses. But again, I would not recommend that. So her main usage is going to be against the I'm forgetting the name of that. There's one Geas boss, the minion one, in every guild raid. So she is just spectacular against her. I think it's Sigma, right? I believe it's Sigma. I don't know. I'm forgetting the name. It's probably Sigma. See, this skill, her entire kit, it's amazing. Of course, her second skill, you should just avoid using it because you're gonna use her manually. You're not gonna use her on auto. So of course, you should, first of all, she does this cursed debuff, 50% chance, a bit low, of course, 50% is just not that good, but cursed debuff itself takes damage proportional to health at the start of the turn. These cursed debuffs, when they stack on, have bosses who have like millions of HP, they deal a fuck ton of damage. So it's kind of mandatory to build her, right? The other option would be, again, poison, but poison is just not that good in this game, and poison units are pretty limited. Marianne, pair her with like something like a Veronica, just get her as many turns as possible, and she will literally carry you alone in guild boss. Your guild boss damage will be off the roof. And again, if you're a new player, you could potentially delay this, but I would not recommend that because, even as a new player, the guild boss offers so many good rewards on a daily basis. I would highly recommend you to go ahead and at least invest some resources, right? Keep in mind, she just needs a bit of health and lots of accuracy, right? Lots of accuracy and effectiveness. These 3 stats are probably going to be your main priority. So you don't really need so much speed, don't need any other things like not attack, defense, of course, nothing like that. You could just pair her with Veronica. I've seen a lot of people who have done Veronica and Marianne just a double, duo team, and they have scored like 8 million damage in a single run, right? Which is insane. It's literally insane. It's like two levels worth in the early game. But yeah, apart from that, again, Marianne, this is another debatable one, but I'm gonna say she's a must build, but I would still recommend her if you are in any way or shape or form you're serious about guild content. I'd recommend you to build Marianne. I think she is awesome, right, in that regard. Coming to my 5th pick, again, honestly, 5th pick is, again, a pretty debatable topic. If you're already having a good TO and you're not facing any issues, you should just skip it, because this is going to be another healer, Fainin. See, this is the healer I was talking about. She carried me throughout the game. I did not know about TO's potential at the time because I was fairly new, right? But I built TO because I knew TO was like godly. She was the only hero in the game which has this immunity buff that she could provide to all allies. She also does a decent amount of healing, although not as good as TO. Probably because the thing is, sometimes they don't mention that the healing amount, if it's by a percentage of enemies' health or it's by her own health. I believe it's your allies' health, right? Heals all allies by 35% of targets. It says here, targets max health. So whenever it's targets max health, the healing amount is of course going to be lower, right? Of course, against if you're using it on tanks, probably not that low, but if you're using it on DPS or squishy heroes, which you generally are, just to keep them alive, the healing amount is going to be low. But her main catch is going to be the immunity buff she's going to provide. Immunity buff is amazing. It's going to protect you from a lot of the incoming debuffs. I know it helped me a lot on Tower Floor 20, on I believe 60 as well. On 100 I tried, but the pre-rework Sigma, the Floor 100 boss, she was a beast. she was unkillable if you did not have a TO, right? The new one is actually pretty good. Fainin is pretty good for that, right? Because of the immunity buff, she could just block all the incoming curses, and she's gonna be just protecting your team for the entire duration. Apart from that, she also has this great 3-turn cooldown move. I would really, I would really wish that this move was on a 2-turn cooldown, because that would really make her on par with someone like a TO, someone like a Saren, right? But sadly, it's on a 3-turn cooldown. It's also single target. Of course, you could just burst it, just to provide the effect to all allies, but still decent. It's still decent. First skill, again, attacks an enemy, heals the ally with the lowest health by 10% of the target's max health. Again, the weakness is it's proportional to the target's max health, right? So it's kind of bad. It's kind of bad. Again, I'm gonna straight out say, if you have a TO, which you of course you should have, TO should be your main priority as a healer. You could potentially ignore Fainin, right? Apart from that, honestly, I don't feel there's any other good 2-star, right? K is a decent defender, but his kit is honestly easily power crept. He's not that good. Vera looked pretty interesting to me, but her damage just falls off. I don't know why it falls off, but it does. Snow is honestly one of the early clearers in the game, but she has just been power crept. Like, she's just pretty bad now. Yeah. Plus her base speed is, I don't know, kind of dog water, I think. She is... Yeah, it's 149. Same as Cindy though, but Cindy just provides way more utility than Snow would ever hope for. Apart from that, Iris is actually a pretty great unit with Party, right, for the burn compositions. Sadly, there's no use of a burn composition so far. Yeah, that is gonna be it, right? There's, for honorable mentions, honestly, I'd probably say Fenrir, if you don't have stuff like Air. Fenrir is a decent suboptimal option for a fire DPS, although again, she is just not going to be as good as an Air, because yeah, like Fenrir is 2-star, plus her damage multipliers are pretty dog shit, especially if they don't have a barrier, because all of her skills, at least both of her main skills, scale if the opponent has a barrier buff. Honestly, she could be probably pretty good against future units if they have barriers, in future. Or she could even be good against 6-star Demicellas, because they provide a barrier to all allies at the start of turn. Who knows? But of course, she's not good by any means. She's just potential to be good, right? Potential. That's the keyword right there. Of course, Idit is pretty strong potential. She's honestly pretty heavily used against the current meta because of her ability to counterattack. 60% chance when she's attacked. Pretty high chance, keep that in mind. Yeah, I know she was built pretty heavily before the bruiser meta was actually there, because evasion was literally ruling the game, and she's queen of evasion. She really benefits from evasion, right? That's it from my side. Let me know if I missed any, or if you think there are any other 2-star heroes that are worth mentioning, or in the category of must build, right? So far, again, let's just wrap up. TO, Cindy, Dolly and Marianne. All right, all 4 of them are crucial in different areas of the game, right? They are at the top of the leaderboards, they're at the top of the must build charts in the entire game for 2 stars. That's it from my side. Hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you want more such content, and I'll see you later. Peace.